Hi guys! Welcome to our YouTube channel, Research Ready and Student Matters Hub by Doc Lin. Para sa mga bago sa ating channel, you are very welcome to be part of our YouTube community and watch all the videos in research and other concerns regarding the students so that maka-acquire kayo ng knowledge or makakuha kayo ng additional knowledge para ma-further nyo or ma-enhance pa ninyo ang inyong research skills. Nagpapasalamat ako sa patuloy na nanonood at sumusubaybay sa mga videos na inilalabas natin sa ating YouTube channel. And I hope that at this point in time, ay okay kayong lahat. You are all doing well. And also, I would like to wish good luck to all those who are doing their research projects. Now, ang ating lesson video ay isa sa mga uri or types ng experimental research. At ito yung tinatawag nating true experimental research. Ang true experimental research ay may dalawang bagay kayong dapat tandaan. Una, ang true experimental research ay kino-consider ang random assignments ng kanyang participants or ng kanyang respondents. So pag sinabi nating random assignment, meron tayong sistemang ginagawa para mapili natin systematically ang magiging participants or respondents ng ating study. Pangalawa, nakakapag-manipulate siya ng variables, particularly independent variables. Kasi yung independent variables na ito yung tinitignan natin kung meron ba siyang effect sa ating dependent variables. Sa ating lesson video na ito, meron tayong i-discuss na tatlong klase ng true experimental research. Ito rin yung kadalasan na ginagamit ng mga universities na inire-require nila sa kanilang mga estudyanteng gamitin aside from the quasi-experimental research which do not assign their respondents or participants randomly. So if you want to test a hypothesis or the cause and effect relationship or the causality of variables, etong experimental research na to ang bagay sa inyo. So ngayon, simulan na natin ang pagdidiscuss ng true experimental research. Let us define first what do we mean by true experimental design. We have already established that when we are going to use a true experimental design, we randomly assign our respondents into experimental and control group, which is totally different pag ikaw ay gagamit ng quasi-experimental. Although on quasi, you can have experimental and control group. However, there is an absence of random selection. When you said true experimental design, it is a research design where the researcher manipulates an independent variable to observe its effect on a dependent variable, with random assignment of participants to different groups. This design is considered the gold standard for establishing causal relationships due to its rigorous control over variables and randomization. So from the definition, we can summarize or we can capture two important terms. One is manipulation of variables, and then the other one is randomization. So ang minamanipulate nating variables pag tayo ay nagtutrue experimental ay ang ating independent variable. At kailangan ang ating respondents ay sinelect natin randomly. But I would like to remind everyone, when you're going to use true experimental design or any other experimental design, you have to be sure that it's really the manipulated variable which causes the effect on the dependent variable. So what are the characteristics of a true experimental research? The first one, syempre, random assignment. Participants are randomly assigned to either the experimental group. The experimental group is the group who receives the treatment, or the control group, who does not receive the treatment, or will perform as usual. And then, the second characteristic is control. High control over extraneous variables, meaning babantayan mo talaga itong mga variables na ito dahil dapat ang sinisigurado mo kapag nag-experimental research ka, ang nakakaapekto lang sa dependent variable mo ay yung independent variable. Ensuring that any observed effects are due to the manipulation only of the independent variable. The third characteristic is manipulation. The researcher commonly actively manipulate only the independent variable. Now, when to use through experimental design? First, kung gusto nating mag-establish ng causal relationship between variables which cannot be done when you're going to use any descriptive research design because it does not establish cause and effect relationship, while in experimental or through experimental research, it established the relationship between or causal relationship between variables. Second, kapag ikaw ay ethically and practically makokontrol mo at maimamanipulate mo yung independent variable, meaning to say you have all the chance to conduct the study ethically and practically. When random assignment is feasible and desirable. When it's not feasible and desirable, then you have to recourse to quasi-experimental design. But when random assignment is feasible and desirable, you can use through experimental design. Okay, so para mas madali niyong maintindihan ang true experimental research, i-discuss ko yung tatlong common examples or types ng true experimental research at ito ay base kay Creswell and Creswell ng 2018. But before that, para mas madali nyo siyang maintindihan, explain natin kung ano yung mga gagamitin nating symbol. So, gagamitin natin yung A as a symbol of experimental group. Yung letter B, comparison or control group. Yung X, yung treatment. And then yung O, yung measure natin. So, commonly yung pre-test tsaka yung post-test. At yung R, syempre yung random assignment. At makikita natin ito dahil ito ay true experimental research. Ang unang klase ng true experimental research ay pre-test, post-test, control group design. I'll repeat, pre-test, post-test, control group design. Ito yung conventional and classical design wherein yung participants mo are randomly assigned to two groups. So you have seen the word randomly assigned to two groups. Both groups undergo a pre-test and post-test. But ang nabibigyan lamang ng treatment ay ang experimental group. So this is our symbol. So our group A is the experimental. R means random. And then we have the measure on the A. So that's the pre-test. You have the X, which is the treatment, and then you have the another O, that's the measure, which is the post-test. Let's take a look on the group B. So you have the R, that's random, and then you have the O, that's pre-test or the measure, but you cannot see the X, which is the treatment, and then you have the O, which is the measure or the post-test. So kung titignan natin ang difference ng dalawang grupong ito, ang experimental lamang ang nabigyan ng treatment. Ang control group ay hindi. Pero, pareho silang binigyan ng pre-test at post-test. Let's take an example. A company wants to assess whether a new stress management program improves well-being and reduces stress levels. Ang study design natin, ang ating participants, kunyari 100 employees are selected to participate in the study. So, syempre, sa 100 employees na ito, they are randomly assigned to two groups. Either experimental group, which will receive the stress management program, and the control group, which will not receive the program. Ano ang ating pre-test measurement? Before the program begins, or yung new stress management program, both groups are assessed for their baseline stress levels. Syempre, gagamit ka ng validated stress questionnaire dito at dapat standardize siya. Ma-establish nito yung baseline measure of stress for both groups. Tapos, pagkatapos mo magbigay ng measure or ng pretest, meron ka ng treatment. So, ito ay by means of intervention. Yung experimental group mo, magpa-participate dun sa stress management program. Pwedeng kasama ang workshop, relaxation techniques, coping strategies, over a period of 6 weeks. So kung kayo ay magkakaroon ng experimental research, kahit ito ay quasi, dapat very particular kayo kung gaano ito itatagal or yung duration niya. Yung control group naman, hindi niya nare-receive yung new stress management program. So, continue lang sila sa kanilang regular work routine. So, ang nakareceive lang ng intervention ay yung group A or experimental group. Sa post-test naman, after nung intervention, over a 6-week period dun sa group A natin or experimental, bibigyan na silang pareho ng measure or post-test para malaman kung ano yung kanilang stress levels after nung intervention. Although, ang nag-participate lang ay sa experimental group. Ang pwedeng maging analysis natin, change in stress levels pre-test to post-test for the experimental group is compared to the change in stress levels of the control group. So usually ganyan. No, tinitignan natin kung yung kanilang mean scores ay nagkakaiba ba in terms of the pre-test and post-test. This comparison helps determine if the stress management program had a significant effect on reducing stress levels. Pero kung mas mataas pa yung scores ng ating control group, so it means yung stress level management program does not affect the stress levels. However, meron kasi tayong mga tinatawag na threats to internal validity. Maaaring epektibo yung programa pero meron kang hindi nakita as a researcher na maaaring nakaapekto dun sa manipulation mo ng yung experimental group or either dun sa iyong control group. So maaaring yung control group mo ay na-expose din sa ginagawa ng experimental dahil nakikita niya at ginagaya niya. So ano po pwedeng maging results interpretation dito? If the experimental group shows a significant reduction in stress level compared to the control group, it suggests that the stress management program was effective. If there is no significant difference between the two groups, it might indicate that the group did not have a measurable impact or other factors could be influencing the results, as I have mentioned. So, pwedeng effective yung program pero hindi mo lang na-implement as a researcher ng maayos. Ang pangalawang klase naman ng true experimental research ay tinatawag nating post-test only control group design. This design addresses the potential confounding effects of a pre-test and is widely used in experimental research. Participants, again, are randomly assigned to groups with only the experimental group receiving the treatment, while both groups are assessed on the post-test. So it's very clear on this idea, we have two groups, A and B, experimental and control, and they are both randomly assigned. However, you will notice that there is no measure or pretest before the treatment or intervention had begun. So wala tayong measure, wala tayong pretest. At mapapansin nyo rin, ang may treatment lang ay yung ating A or experimental. Walang treatment ang ating B or intervention. Pero, pareho silang binigyan ng measure after the intervention, which is the post-test. Okay, so this is called post-test only control group design. Magbigay tayo ng example ng study. Ang study natin, evaluating the effectiveness of a new online learning platform. Yung scenario natin, meron isang educational institution who wants to assess whether itong new online learning platform ay nai-improve niya yung final exam scores compared to traditional classroom instruction. So, gagamit tayo dito ng intervention at iyon ay yung new online learning platform. Yan ang ating independent variable. Ang ating dependent variable ay yung kanilang final exam scores. Ito yung pwede nating study design. So, participants, magseselect tayo ng dalawang grupo ng estudyante. Siyempre, Group A, experimental group, Group B, control group. Yung bawat grupo consists of students from similar courses or subjects to ensure comparability. Importante yan. Na ang pipiliin nating dalawang grupo, dapat comparable sila. So, you have to establish that as a researcher. Then, the intervention. Yung Group A natin, gumagamit sila ng bagong online learning platform. So, pwedeng interactive modules, video lectures, pati sa paggawa or pag-perform nila ng mga quizzes. While yung Group B, they continue with the traditional classroom instruction, face-to-face lecture, printed handouts, and standard textbooks. Ang advice ko sa mga researcher natin na gumagawa ng experimental group, pag sinabing control group, anong ginagawa nila? Do not just say they are doing the traditional. So what is traditional? What do you mean by that? So you have to explain further. Ang ating post-test measurement, at the end of the semester, all students take the same final exam, designed to measure their understanding of the course material. Wala tayong pre-test, pero meron tayong post-test. At pareho nilang ititake yung parehong exam. Comparison. The final scores of students in Group A who use the online platform, ikina-compare natin siya sa Group B who received the traditional instruction. What will be our analysis? Ang center natin is yung effectiveness ng evaluation. The difference in average final scores between the two groups is analyzed to determine kung ang new online platform ay merong significant effect sa student performance. What can be our results interpretation? If Group A shows significant higher final exam scores compared to Group B, it suggests that the online learning platform was effective in enhancing student learning. Kapag ka naman no significant difference, kapag yung kanilang final exam scores between these two groups ay may indicate that the new online learning platform did not have a measurable impact on student performance. Or pwedeng, ulitin ko, merong ibang factor na naka-influence dun sa pagmamanipulate mo ng iyong independent variable na laging dapat bantayan ng researcher. Ang pangatlong common na type ng true experimental research ay yung Solomon 4-group design. Ang procedure na ito ay merong particular instance of a 2x2 factorial design. It entails randomly assigning participants sa 4 na grupo. Pre-tests and treatments are manipulated across these groups, while all groups undergo a post-test. So let's see. We have 4 groups here, A, B, C, and D, and you can see letter R because they are all randomly selected or assigned. Sa Group A muna tayo. So sa Group A, makikita nyo yung measure natin before the intervention. So meaning to say, nagbigay ng pre-test before the intervention, and then you have the X, that's the intervention or measure, and then you have the O, which is the post-test. On Group B, you can see that there is no measure at the beginning of the intervention, but it has an intervention and it has a post-test. On Group C, it has a pre-test, it doesn't have intervention, but it has a post-test. On Group D, it doesn't have a pre-test, but it has a post-test. So makikita nyo naman dyan sa symbol. Lahat sila nakareceive ng post-test, pero ang nakareceive lang ng intervention ay si A at B. At ang nakareceive lang ng pre-test ay si A at C. Let us take an example. Evaluating the impact of a new teaching method on student achievement. Ang scenario natin, merong isang researcher at gusto niyang i-assess kung ang new teaching method ay i-improve yung student achievement if the pre-test itself affects students' performance. Study design natin, magsiselect si researcher ng 200 students who are randomly assigned to 4 different groups. So, yung mga grupo na to will experience different conditions para ma-assess natin yung impact ng teaching method and yung pre-test. So, yung tignan natin yung groups and intervention, punta tayo sa group 1. So, yung group 1, this is experimental pre-test group. Si students ay magtitake ng pre-test para ma-assess yung kanyang initial knowledge. Tapos, makaka-receive siya ng intervention with the new teaching method. Yung post-test niya, ibibigay din after nung teaching method with a duration specified by the researcher. Let's move on group 2, experimental post-test only group. There is no pre-test. Students do not take the pre-test. Students receive intervention using the new teaching method. And post-test, students take post-test to measure their achievement. So, walang pre-test, may intervention, at may post-test. Ang group 3 ay tinatawag na control pre-test group. Ang estudyante ay magti-take ng pre-test, pero ang i-receive niya lang ay yung traditional instruction. Hindi siya magre-receive ng new teaching method. And then, makaka-receive siya ng post-test. Sa group 4, control post-test only group. Yung students, walang pre-test, wala ring intervention, pero bibigyan ng post-test. Ano yung pwede nating analysis? I-compare natin yung post-test scores of group 1 or yung experimental pre-test and group 2, experimental post-test para ma-determine natin yung effect ng new teaching method. Kasi etong dalawang grupo na ito ang merong intervention. Group A at saka Group B. Tapos, i-compare din natin yung post-test scores ng Group 3 at saka ng Group 4 para ma-establish natin yung baseline measure of performance under traditional instruction. Ngayon, i-assess natin yung pre-test effects. Compare natin yung post-test scores between Group 1 and Group 3. Okay, to determine if pre-testing itself affects the performance. Kasi, ang meron lang pre-test ay ang Group A at Group C. Kanina, ang kinompare natin, yung experimental na A at yung B dahil pareho silang merong intervention. Ngayon, ang i-compare naman natin ay yung A at C dahil meron silang parehong pre-test. What will be the results interpretation? Let's see the effects of teaching method. If Group 1 or the experimental pre-test and Group 2, the experimental post-test, show significantly higher post-test scores compared to Group 3 and Group 4, it suggests that the new teaching method is effective. No? So, yung Group 1 daw at Group 2, kung mataas ang kanilang post-test scores compared sa 3 at saka 4, ito ay nagsasabi na ang new teaching method ay effective. Pag pre-test effects naman ang titignan natin, if Group 1 and Group 3 have similar post-test scores, and Group 2 and Group 4 also show similar post-test scores, it indicates that any observed differences in achievement can be attributed to the new teaching method rather than the pre-test effects. Okay, so natuto ba kayo dun sa tatlong klase ng true experimental research na meron tayo? Gusto ko lang i-summarize ang ating true experimental research. Commonly, meron siyang dalawa o higit pang grupo na isinasama niya sa kanyang experiment. Ang independent variables ang nagkakaroon or nagbubunga ng isang effect sa kanyang dependent variables. Pero bantayan natin kung ito nga talaga ang nakakapagdulot ng changes or ng epekto sa ating dependent variables kasi maaaring merong mga ibang elements na po pwedeng makaapekto sa result ng ating study at i-discuss ko yan sa another lesson video. Yan yung tinatawag natin na threats to internal validity. Hindi natin siya maiiwasan, pwede siyang makaapekto sa ating research, pero ang tanong, ano ang ginawa mo bilang researcher para ma-mitigate mo yung effect ng ganitong mga factors? So, pag-aaralan din natin yan. So, ulitin ko, ang isang true experimental research ay maaaring magkaroon ng dalawa o higit pang grupo ng respondents or participants na kasama sa pag-aaral. Pangalawa, ito ay randomly assigned. So, meron kang sistema na ginagawa para ma-assign mo kung sino ang iyong experimental at control group. At commonly, gumagamit tayo ng measures. Pwede tayong magbigay ng measures sa bago natin gawin ng intervention or pagkatapos gawin ng intervention, depende sa design na ginagamit natin. At syempre, meron din tayong tinatawag na intervention or treatment. So, natuto ba kayo sa ating lesson video? No? So, maraming salamat sa inyong panonood. Kasi kung nandito kayo ngayon, ibig sabihin, natapos ninyo itong lesson video tungkol sa true experimental research. And good luck kung kayo man ay gagawa or gumagawa ngayon ng inyong experimental research. Please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. Kindly share it with others para mas marami pang matulungan ang ating YouTube channel. At always remember, we unlock insights to empower your minds. Thanks for watching and see you on our next lesson video. Bye-bye everyone!